Well, greetings everyone, and welcome this Thursday to another episode of the Sports Crib. As Spencer would say, late for my own damn funeral. But how you doing tonight, there, Spencer?
Doing great, sir. How are you doing? Sorry I'm coming
Um,
to you on my cell phone, but I couldn't link up to you on my laptop. Sorry, sir.
well, hey, it doesn't matter. You're here, and that's all that matters. So we're good to go. Uh, Missed you there for a couple of weeks. I know you said you had a couple guys coming down, some apprentices that you had to train. Uh,
Yes, sir.
so, uh, so what do? You restore old houses, old furniture?
No, I'm head of the capital improvement department.
Okay,
We go into like multi-housing apartment communities. We re-roof, repaint, do interior renovations. We do it all. Wait, you need
okay,
something new built, we'll build it. We just do it all. I mean, I
okay.
just drove 7 hours from Florida to get here to do this show.
It, oh man. Okay. Well, are you working in any of those flood areas that we see on TV all through the country? I guess from
We
Tennessee
all right,
all the way down to
we have
Alabama.
we have nothing recent, no, but we have in the Louisiana floods, the Alabama and Mississippi floods. Yes, we do have a whole division that takes care of that, but we haven't got nothing, recently. So if anybody needs some help, let me know.
All right. Well, hey, I'll make sure to put in that plug, Spencer Restorations. Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely make sure that we put in that plug for you. Uh, but I see Bill is here, but he's not here, so we'll just kind of go on without him
All right,
there.
let's
But
go for it.
uh, I know you're old enough to remember when Roger Maris hit those 61 home runs.
Yes, sir.
It was kind of a back and forth. We didn't know who was going to get it, whether it was going to be Mickey or whether it was going to be Roger. And I think it was just within the last month, Roger kind of pulled away. But we have another Yankee now, Mr. Judge. That is the last I looked. I'm not sure at that Yankee game. It was
51, ain't
like well, it was 51 when we went on the air. Yeah, the Yankees are playing tonight, so but it was 51 when we went on the air, and it's just the beginning of the September.
it? Right.
If even without the boys of October, I mean, what 11 in 30 days? What do you think?
Yes, sir. Very possible. But the only thing that he cannot control, and we can't even forecast, are they going to pitch to him? That's the question we don't know. Are they going to pitch to him?
Well,
That's what we don't know.
but if you remember, that was the same thing that we had when Roger Maris, and when it was between Roger and people were saying the same thing.
Right.
Were they going to pitch to him? Were they going to, and you know, I would imagine, even though I mean, baseball was not really my forte, but I knew a couple kids that did, and we had a couple kids from my hometown that
Yes,
made
sir.
it pretty far. But you know, uh, baseball players have a certain amount of respect and dignity that they also want. So
That is true, but they also don't be want to go down in history. They say that pitch that broke the record. You know what I mean? But I
yeah,
will
yeah.
say this: if they will pitch to him a minimum of three times, three at bats a game, he will break the record this year. I will say that. I'll go on record on that one.
Okay. Uh, wonder where Bill went. He was here.
I miss Bill. I miss y'all, man. I really do. I'm sorry I've been so busy. I miss y'all. Y'all have such a great show. I had to rewatch it through the recordings. But I mean, you have a great show going on here, brother. Thank you.
Well, I tried as best I can. So I mean, that's kind of the big thing with us. Uh, our show is all about having fun. Just a bunch of guys sitting around having fun, and so. Uh,
Then you bring on the ball-headed crazy fucker up in here, so there you go. Are you watching any of the Tennessee game? Tennessee and Ball State tonight?
I'm trying to get one of them on, but I was so late coming on, I'm not sure. Bill, we are on the air, so anytime you want to come back on, we are here. I'm not sure exactly what happened. You might have had the wrong link also, but I'm sure some of the
might
other
have to come on his phone like I did.
There he is. No, there he is.
There he is.
Yeah, there he is. Okay, I know we had him there for a minute. Bill, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing well. I hope you're doing well also.
Yeah, I'm out here in California. I'm doing well. I'm just trying to stay a little cool right now. Spencer is here. We haven't had Spencer on in a while, so I thought Spencer said he'd be back after he got the boys in shape there. Spencer's kind of like the overseer in his job. He has to make sure them boys do their job right. But we were just talking about Mr. Judge. And as I said, when we went on the air, he was at 51. I don't know where he's at right now, but we were talking about whether or not we thought that he would hit 11 more home runs this month. Spencer brought up, the question of whether or not they'd pitch to him.
Well, that is the big question, yeah. I mean,
but I also remember that was the same argument that they had when Roger Maris broke the record, because if you remember, him and Mickey Mantle were going back and forth, and that was the big question then, And as I was saying, pitchers have a certain amount of pride too.
Well, nobody wants to be the guy that gave up. Nobody wants to be Al Downing, right? Nobody wants to be Al Downing. That's the only reason that people remember Al Downing.
Yeah. Sure. So does the guy to get the 60, and then after that, well, hey, we're gonna put him on base.
Yep. That's right. And of course, Maris does it in 154 games, and as you said, with Mickey Mantle. Now, luckily, it's hard to pitch around him because he and Mantle are, hitting back to back. I mean, it's kind of a tough deal there. You got to pitch to somebody. And Moose Gowan's on that team. Elton Howard's on that team. I mean, that team is pretty darn good. There's not a lot of Frank Hondo Howard is on that team. Like, who do you pitch to? That team was crazy, stupid, loaded. But yeah, the fact is that when you are talking about a team that's built the way teams are now, where everybody swings for the fences, your middle infielders are all guys who think they're home run hitters nowadays. Everybody thinks they're a home run hitter. Guys are working on their launch angles and exit velos. Guys who should be working on bat control and turning a double play are spending all their time in the offseason trying to hit more home runs, right?
Well, Bill, you don't have the guy at shortstop that weighs 185 pounds and that lightning quick outfielder that if he maybe weighs 180 pounds. I mean, like we've said many times, when you look at that Yankee team, they look more like a football team.
They're enormous. And a bunch of those guys were football players. We talked about this. Giancarlo was a big-time high school football player, and Judge was a 4-star recruit at tight end. Stanford and Michigan were all over him to play tight end for them. So, yeah, they got some absolute monsters. Gallo was a good high school football player. A bunch of those guys were big-time high school football players on that team. And it looks like it. Like I said, those guys could suit up and give a medium-sized college a run for its money. So the issue with the way teams are built nowadays is when you have to win with small ball, you're screwed. When you're not hitting the ball out, you're screwed. Who knows how to lay down a sack butt anymore? I mean, who? there's maybe 7 guys in the league. I didn't say in the. I mean in the whole league that I would trust to lay down a key sack bunt nowadays. Like 7, you could fit them all in a minivan. The kind of guys who still could execute a swinging bunt nowadays. It's a dying art, you know. I would kill to see another Tony Gwynn come down the pike or Rod Carew, but those guys don't exist anymore.
No, I mean, back in those days, can you imagine in extra innings putting a man on second base? I mean, could you even imagine going out, you know, and telling, you know, Yogi Berra, he was the manager of the Yankees, hey, you know, after the 9th inning, we're going to put a guy on second base here, and yeah, right. I mean, it's like Yogi's got enough quotes now. I mean, I could imagine what some of those would have been if they had even.
Those would not be able to be taught to school children. Those quotes would not be so family friendly. I mean, think about this. Ted Kluszewski had, I think, 3, maybe 4 seasons where he had more home runs than strikeouts. Think about that. He had a year where one time he had, I think, 49 home runs and had 34 strikeouts. You don't see that anymore. People forget how good Big Clue was. I'm once again another terrific football player, right? A guy who was an all Big Ten football player at Indiana. Played on the same team with George Taliaferro. In fact, the last time that Indiana won the Big Ten outright, Ted Kluszewski was a key player on that team for football. He was a terrific football player, but there was no money in football in those days. I mean, I'm joking. I mean, Ted Kluszewski, Jackie Jensen, Jackie Robinson, those guys could have played pro football, but pro football players made nothing in those days. Nothing. Baseball was where the money was.
Yeah. I mean, when you think of how much baseball, you know, we talk about all the games, but baseball has also went under changes. You know, just maybe not as quickly, and maybe and maybe a little bit more subtly, but you know, baseball has had its own range of changes also. Spencer, what do you think? You know, walking up and telling Yogi or, you know, some of those guys, you know, hey, we're going to put a guy on second base here. You know, Warren Spahn or maybe.
How about Early Wynn? Right?
Yeah.
who quite literally brushed back his own son during a photo op. And they asked him, "What are you doing? It's a photo op with your son." He said he was crowding the plate.
I mean, could you imagine going out there telling Sandy Koufax or some of those guys, you know, we're going to put a guy on second base there, Spence? What do you think?
No, sir. It's a whole different age now. I mean, this is so different. I have a personal question for Bill right quick.
Okay.
Bill, what kind of skincare do you use, sir? Because you are smooth, brother. I mean, I look like old leather over here. You are smooth, man. I mean, good Lord, what are you using?
I do what I can. So my grandfather had an old-fashioned straight razor, right?
Yes,
And I don't use that all the time because that's a special occasion thing. Because, you know, if you haven't had enough sleep, if you're not in top condition, you look like you were in a knife fight. You got to make sure you're perfectly well rested. You've got no worries on your mind,
and that your blade is sharp.
Well,
thank you.
Well, first of all, this is old school straight razor.
Yeah,
It'll be sharp long after all of us are dead, James.
I have one. I have one over here on the shelf. As a matter of fact, on top of my terrible towel, and a strap.
Yes, okay. Right, your strap and everything. So this man used to just, you know, it was like something he would do just when he was relaxing or whatever. That thing was, you could literally split a hair with it. So no, sharp is not an issue. It's just that you have to be in peak form. Like you can't be distracted. You can't have something else on your mind. You can't have had a meal that wasn't.
I mean, that is a.
You can't have had a meal that didn't sit right with you. Thank you, sir. So I bust that out every now and again, but that's not my regular situation. Is just the who makes it? The Fusion, the whatever. I can't remember the name of the company, but the Fusion.
Gillette.
Yeah, future. So that's my
I
maintenance.
use that
right?
also. Yeah.
That's my maintenance thing. But if I want to really, 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 once again, it's a special occasion because you can't afford to blink or sneeze or anything. Because because I'll miss a show because I'll be in the emergency room. If you are in, you gotta. Nope, you can't have had an argument with anybody. Like your mind must be pure and clear, right? Because this thing is sharp.
Hey, Spencer.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever seen Mississippi Burning?
Actually, yes, I have. Twice.
Do you remember when Gene Hackman gave the deputy sheriff a shave?
Yes, I do. Yes.
You can't be distracted or thinking about something else.
Yeah, but they ain't telling me about the skincare that's been rubbed on after the shave. He ain't giving that secret up.
I
But
know.
still, back to your question, Mr. King. It is no, back in that day, no, you didn't do that. I mean, it's a whole different respect, a whole different time of the game, and I guess the best way I could put it, men were men, and boys were boys back then.
Yeah.
And in the old days, if you took just a little too long rounding the bases after you hit a home run, you knew that next one was in your ribs, or they usually stayed away from your head in those days. But you were gonna catch one in the ribs, maybe the butt, but you're getting one. Don Drysdale, you're catching one. Bob Gibson, you're catching one. Yeah, you couldn't style and profile. No, you just had to get around those bases expeditiously if you weren't trying to get a nice little welt right about here.
Yep.
I tell you something else has changed. Spence, the Big Ten has just got $7 billion.
Yes, it
from
is.
Fox, CBS, and NBC. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I never want to hear anybody complain ever again about NIL or anything else.
Once again, I'm going to show my age here because, I remember when, it was astonishing when a conference got $100,000. I mean, just think if Bear Bryant and the boys had been able to split $700,000. Okay. Yeah. What's your thoughts on these new deals? And as we've talked, you weren't here, but the evolving of the super conference. How many conferences do you think we're going to have when this is all over with? 5, 3, 7?
Well, this is my opinion on it. It's just me, Spencer Ridley talking. My opinion. Number one, all this would not have happened back in the Bear Bryant days. Period. They were allowed to have 200 people on the sideline. There was no cutoff on what you did. There was none of that. So this is a whole different era we're talking about. But during this era here, and talking about the Big Ten, I've been fortunate in the past week. I've been able to talk to and interview a couple of, or one Big 12 gentleman, a Mighty Duck. He was able to come on my show because Georgia's playing the Mighty Ducks, and Georgia they think they're vanity. They don't think they even have nothing to worry about. And I disagree. But to your question, I don't know where this is going to end up being, but my gut, as much as I hate to say it, it's going to come down to two power conferences, just like the AFC and NFC in national football. Much as I hate to see it, because the smaller colleges are going to get screwed in this whole deal. And I hate to see it, but that's how I see it's going. That's my opinion.
I think you forget about all that oil money in the Big 12.
Yeah,
So
but
that's it.
they lose Oregon and Washington, they're done.
No,
They ain't got nobody else.
that's the Pac-12. I'm talking about Texas and them boys over there. Texas, Oklahoma, that conference there,
They're
Oklahoma
Big Ten,
State.
right?
No, they're the Big 12, and then you got the Pac-12,
Right,
which used to be, the Pac-12 is the one that's going to lose Oregon and probably, I mean, they've already
right.
lost
And then they're done.
USC, yeah,
Then
so
they leave.
they'll probably be absorbed, but I think the oil money in Texas and Oklahoma and those
Well,
states,
I'll give you four. I'll give you four. I think ACC can survive and make money, even though the Big Ten, SEC, going to sop up all the big TV money. But I'll give you four. I'll give you four different leagues there. Four different super conferences.
Bill, we had talked about this before, Bill. And we knew it was going to be a big number, but
Yep.
did you think it was going to be $7 billion?
Well, I knew there was going to be a lot of zeros, and it comes down to this. For those who are new to this country, if you have something's worth what you can get people to pay for it, that's what you learn very quickly. Is it worth it? Did somebody pay it? Then the answer is yes. That's how you know something's worth something, because somebody paid it.
Right.
It's not like they could go to many other places, right? SEC already locked up, right? So the biggest prize is already off the table. So now you're scrambling around for what's the next biggest available thing. It's not like you can run out and go get this any place. You know what I mean? You only had 5 Power 5 conferences, and there's going to be fewer than 5 very soon. So that means that you're now bidding for something that is one of now less than 5, probably. When there's only 4 of something or 3 of something on the planet Earth, you can charge a lot for it. That's why art is worth what it's worth, right? How many Picassos are there in the world? How many Van Goghs are there in the world? How many major... You can think about this. You think about this as a football question. If I'm a television network, I think about it as a beer, truck, beef jerky, fast food question, right? Where else can I get 18 to 34-year-old males to keep their eyeballs locked from noon until 10, 11 o'clock at night? 10, 11, 12 hours, right? Sometimes in one place, not watching a bunch of different things, but watching one thing for that long. How many things can you sell them in that amount of time? Do you know what people will pay for that? If you can get the key demographic, which is 18 to 34-year-old males who spend lots of their disposable income on crap, right? That's the magic. If you say, I'm going to get 40-something% of America's 18 to 34-year-old males for 7 or 8 or 9 hours, it's worth whatever you sell it for, right? And that's what you can promise them. I'm going to give you a huge chunk of America's 18 to 34-year-old males for 4.5 months out of the year, pretty much all day. They're going to watch all these commercials for pizza and trucks and stuff that grows your hair, stuff that gives you an erection, and whatever the hell else you want to sell. Right, yes. Right, yes. Well, you are not in the 18 to 34-year-old demographic, Spencer. I hate to tell you. But that's everything that happens in television is based on how many 18 to 34-year-olds can you promise.
True.
Right? And anything else is bonus or gravy. But all the bidding is how many 18 to 34-year-olds can you lock in for me. College football says to you, I can give you hundreds of millions of them every week for hours. Not an hour like a television. Most television shows are half an hour. All day. Oh
yeah. Hey,
tell us when to stop. How many inches of money do you want?
If you've paid attention, I believe the game started today at 1 o'clock. and if you have the gambit of ESPN, right now there's a game on Fox, which I believe
there's a game
is
every place.
Central Michigan at Oklahoma State. We have Ball State on another channel. I mean, you know, and like you, and you know, and like you said, Bill, you know, anytime you can, you know, almost guarantee an audience that it's going to be steadily going in between channels, you know, and you got that demographic. Yeah, you definitely had the advantage, and you know, I'm sorry Don's not here. Because Don, you know, being in Texas,
Well, Don's actually working a sport, right? Isn't that where he'd be at an event?
Yeah. Don coaches football, and you know, he works with the.
Is it soccer? No, soccer. Is the other soccer?
Soccer is the one got him into the weightlifting.
Yes, right. He's the strength and conditioning coach for the girls' soccer. Right.
Soccer and the cheerleaders. He was traveling with the cheerleaders. Huh?
Is it University of Texas? Is that where he works?
Well, he went to UT, but he worked at a high school in San Antonio.
In San Antonio, yeah. No, he's a graduate of the University of Texas, and he played for the University of Texas. But you know, he's also a very active in his community and collects Civil War memorabilia, things like that. I think he also goes hunting for Bigfoot, but that's another conversation. That's another conversation altogether. Yeah, but let's see. Hopefully, Chris will jump in. Let's see. Okay, I'm on. That's what it is. I'm on the wrong.
Do you ever use those promo codes they send us?
So, Spencer, where are you now? You said you had just traveled from where?
Yeah, I'm back at my home office right now in Georgia.
Oh, okay. All right. So you okay? All right, guys. Over under. I've heard this all week. The Buckeyes are favored by 17 over Notre Dame. Spence, what do you think is going? Do you think the Buckeyes are going to cover or not?
My gut, Buckeyes is going to lose. Notre Dame's going to win this game.
Ooh.
Straight up.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Do you have a bookie in Vegas, or that's just?
No, that's just Spencer Friendly, brother. That's just me, my man. That's all. There's nobody but me.
Okay. Now, you know, I'm not. I usually have a Buckeye flag flying around here because that's why I think that state.
I know about that Buckeye. I know that. I'm just going with my gut, man. I'm looking at the defense returning for Notre Dame. I'm looking what the offense has got for Ohio State, and I'm looking at the first game of the season. Who is going to be more ready on the first game of the season? And it will be Notre Dame will be more game ready, in my opinion, for the first game of the season than the Ohio States, who think they're superstars and who already has been compared by Paul Feinbaum, Ball, of being equal to Alabama.
Ooh.
So I don't think their mind's going to be in the first game. I think Notre Dame's going to win.
Okay. See, Spencer, you know, that's why I have to keep you around because we're going to have a whole lot of questions about that Buckeye Bama this year, especially. Yeah. This year, especially. In years past, I might have been reluctant to have that conversation, but this year, uh, Bill, what's your thoughts on this? Maybe I'm all wrong here.
Well,
I forgot that
first of all, I admire Spencer because he's the kind of guy that will take point, right? He's not afraid. I love that. I'm not quite as bold as Spencer, but 17's a lot of points. I will say that much. Like I might lean against them covering. The only thing that concerns me is turnovers, right? That's the only thing that worries me. If Notre Dame turns the ball over, then yeah, Ohio State probably covers. I think it'll be close early on. I think Notre Dame will struggle to move the ball. I think that Ohio State will probably be, as you said, especially maybe sluggish out of the chute initially. But if Notre Dame makes a mistake and Ohio State smells blood in the water, it could get ugly fast. That's something I'll say. Ohio State has a dramatic advantage in team speed on both sides of the ball. They have the advantage when it comes to big playability on both sides of the ball. They have a distinct advantage in terms of pass rush. Though I like the kid Isaiah Foskey. That's a guy who was a top 50 prospect. But the problem is they have one pass rusher, and Ohio State has about three who are about as good as their one, and so that's not ideal. You would prefer to have more good players in the other team, not fewer. So I'm going to say that Notre Dame maybe avoids being beaten by 17 if they don't turn the ball over. But they have to win the turnover battle. Just to keep it close, they need to win the turnover battle. If they turn the ball over, it could get ugly fast. And that's been one of their issues is since Ian Book, the other guys at quarterback have not been quite as good at protecting the ball. Ian Book, not the world's most exciting player in some ways, but really good at avoiding turning the ball over. That's what they need to do. They need to play a lot of small ball. I think they need to try to slow it down. They cannot win a track, obviously can't win a track meet with Ohio State, which is literally a track team in some positions. There's a real advantage in team speed over Notre Dame. So the keys to victory for Notre Dame, first of all, win the turnover battle. That's a must. If they don't win the turnover battle, they've got no shot. 2, they've got to get at least one cheapie, right? Block a punt. A tip ball interception that you return for a touchdown, a big kickoff return, something that gives you a short field or a score that comes from other than your offense. Notre Dame's offense is not nearly as explosive as Ohio State's offense. And so they're going to need, like I said, a cheap, something that gives them an easy opportunity to score, but particularly early in the game, because now you start to believe. And once you as the underdog start to believe, and the team that was expected to just run right through you like poop through a goose is now starting to wonder if they're going to have to play a real football game. So I like Notre Dame maybe to not lose by 17. I'm not quite as courageous as my friend Spencer. I'm not going to go all the way to them winning, because I've broken down both teams position by position, and Ohio State wins pretty much all of those, like when you sort of break it down by position. And so generally when one team's better at almost every single spot, it's hard to pick against because they have the better situation at quarterback, the better situation at wide receiver, the better situation at running back. Their offensive line is about a wash. That's about the one place where I'd say they're about equal. Notre Dame has a really good offensive line. Here's the one position where I'll give it a flat out win to Notre Dame is tight end. They have definitely an advantage at tight end. Mike Meyer is better than any tight end that Ohio State can trot out. But that's it. Once you get past that, they win. The defensive line depth and defensive line talent goes to Ohio State. Linebackers, close, but goes to Ohio State. Defensive backs, not close, goes to Ohio State. So, yeah, Notre Dame needs something good to happen for them really early in the game. So, yeah, block a punt, something like that, and they got a shot.
All right, Bill. If you don't mind, Mr. King. Bill, with that being said, I understand what you're saying, but with everybody in the world, even the coaching staff for Notre Dame knowing what you just said, this ain't no surprise. If Notre Dame goes 2 deep safeties and loads up to stop the run, where Ohio State will have to beat them mid-range, I think Notre Dame has a shot.
Well, that's what I said. If they can slow the game down, they have to. If they can slow the game down, make them play small ball, like I said. They can keep it close, and then you need something good to happen. Like I said, a tip ball or something, once again, at that point, you have a shot. But if they get down quick early, if all of a sudden it's 17 zip,
it's over.
That's it. That's all right. They don't have the ability to come back. They don't have a big play offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I agree with both of you. That although I'm pulling for Ohio State, I don't. 17.5 is a lot to cover.
That's a lot to cover. That's a lot of points, man.
17 is a lot to cover. 17.5 is even more.
Like if I was thinking about it at 17, you throw that hook out there, it's like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out.
Yeah. So
what's the point spread on Oregon and Georgia?
Have to look that up for you. Because I was gonna. That was my next question to you, Spencer. Who wins that game?
I'm going my gut again. Oregon.
Woo!
Straight up. I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Because Oregon's gonna come out. They're gonna start fast. Now, can Oregon go 4 quarters with Georgia? No. No way in hell. Georgia has better athletes than Oregon. I will admit that. But if Oregon comes out early, puts the points up, and makes it a shootout, Stetson Bennett can't do no damn shootout. He ain't got the balls. It ain't there. It ain't there. He can't do it. So I say that Oregon will win in a close one.
Bill.
That's how I was curious point spread there.
There is no way I keep following Spencer because I'm always going to sound like that was sound so boring.
No, go ahead, man.
I do agree that it will be a tougher game. I agree it's going to be a tougher game than people expect. Oregon's tougher than people think. Mario Cristobal left a really nice situation when he went, when he left here. And so it's not like the cupboard was bare. There's a lot of good players on that team.
Right.
And it's their opportunity. I mean, they know what this means. They're not going to have another shot with this many people watching at any other point this season.
One game.
This is their only chance to really make their mark because people do not respect the Pac-12 anymore.
Nope.
So the only way to get respect as a Pac-12 team is to beat somebody from the SEC or the Big 10 or Big 12 or something like that. I do believe they're going to come out super hot, and I think they're going to actually get a lead. My issue is later in the game, Georgia's running all that talent at you. They're 3 deep with 5 stars at almost every position.
Right.
It's just crazy how many good players they have. They have 4 running backs that could start for 90% of the team in college football. They've got 3 future NFL. They've got 3 future NFL tight ends. I mean, their team is so stupid loaded. I mean, they're going to lose guys who are going to transfer out, who are going to be absolute killing it wherever they go.
So
when they get to whatever their new school is.
When you're down by 14 points? Or you going to try to hold it up?
Sort of like what I said about the first game, only small ball gone. Like they've got the opposite. They've got to make this into a something's happening every few seconds kind of game where they jump out, right? They have to. They can't even just keep it close, right? They can't do that. They got to get up quick. They got to get 2 or 3 quick scores before Georgia even knows what's happening. And then make Georgia change its game plan. And then get an interception or something, right? Because they still need turnovers. You can't really stop Georgia because Georgia's offensive line and running backs are just going to, they're going to get knocked around. Your defensive line is going to get pushed around and knocked around. But it has to not matter. You have to have because you're going to score so many points. You have to score enough points against that ridiculous defense. I mean, Georgia lost a lot of people off that team, but the guys behind them, I mean, Jalen Carter is probably a top 5 or 6 player in the next draft. I mean, Georgia's stupidly deep.
But
so I just have a feeling.
We're talking the first game of the season where these guys just came off a championship thinking they're God Almighty. They already have the next Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, they
Yep.
think they're all that in a bag of damn chips, thinking it don't matter. We just lost 6 of our starters off of defense. We
Yep.
just going to reload and be automatic. They're going
Yep.
to get a rude awakening in the first game. That's my.
I agree with the rude awakening part, but they're going to wake up at some point, Spencer. That's the part I'm worried about.
Yeah, but what? Okay. Let me ask you this: do you give any credit to Oregon's offensive line?
Oregon's a good team. I'm a guy that thinks people are way too low on the Pac-12 as a whole. I think people sell the Pac-12 short. I think that there's 3 or 4 good teams in the Pac-12. And Oregon's obviously one of them.
Me personally, I would say Oregon offensive line by the end of the year will be rated in the top 5 of all offensive linemen. Lines.
I don't even disagree with you.
They
And
are
Utah's offensive line is pretty darn good too while we're at it. But
yes. But
here's my issue.
Who they got for a quarterback right now?
And
Bo
that's
Nix.
what I'm coming to.
Bo Nix
Now we
from
come to the-
Auburn, who had no offensive line.
That's right.
ran-
So that's what I'm coming to. So Bo Nix,
More interceptions. Go
Bo
ahead,
Nix,
go ahead.
right? A former 5-star son of Patrick Nix. We all know the story. He's capable of looking like a Heisman Trophy candidate, but he's also capable of looking like a guy that you can't even allow to finish the game. Which Bo Nix are we going to get? Bo Nix, with all the other stuff I talked about before, we finally get to the thing that I think is really going to end up being the biggest deciding factor. Is Bo Nix going to have the game of his life where he passes like 28 out of 34 for 290-something yards, runs for another touchdown, maybe 5 total touchdowns, and no turnovers. 0 turnovers. They can't afford turnovers. If Georgia gets a turnover, now you pissed them off, right? You're up 14 points. They're starting to get mad. Their coaches are reaming them on the sidelines about all the things you just talked about. Oh, you guys thought you were hot shit, blah, 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 right? But now they get a turnover, and now they're pissed off. So you can't give them, you got to keep, the pressure has to be on the whole time. If Oregon lets up for an instant, they're going to get hit by an avalanche of all that SEC talent, and it'll be 14-14 before you know it. So Bo Nix, with all the other stuff I said before, on top of that, Bo Nix has to have a Heisman candidate kind of performance where people go, oh, this is a new Bo Nix. This is a different Bo Nix. He didn't make the back-breaking mistake that I'm used to seeing him make. If Bo Nix makes any one of those, oh my God, Bo Nix mistakes that he's been known for making in the past, all that good work that Oregon's done will be gone, right? How do you not see that guy interception that he throws straight into the chest of a linebacker? Why is he trying to make a play happen that can't happen? Strip sack that he gives
for his life. He had no offensive line.
Oh, I get what you're saying. But even when you have no offensive line, you can realize a play is dead and throw the ball at someone's ankles, as opposed to making the oh my God mistake.
I'll give you that.
So that's the thing he seemed not to get. So I don't mind him. Once again, what's the first thing your coach tells you when you're a quarterback? I want every possession to end in a kick of some sort. A punt, a field goal, or a point after touchdown. Those are our options. But I want every possession to end in a kick. Bo Nix, unfortunately, had a lot of those possessions end in a pick. So if he could switch those picks for kicks, Oregon very much has a chance. I'm agreeing with you.
Well,
but Bo Nix,
I tell you what, Bill, I'm going to be back on here if Mr. King will let me.
I'll be here too.
You can tell me how wrong I was this weekend.
I would love for you to be right because I love chaos.
Oregon's going to win.
Spencer, the only thing that keeps you from coming on this show is your schedule. So,
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. And I will take the heat. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And on this one, and I'm a SEC homer. Y'all know that. I got Bill defending the SEC to me. This is hilarious.
It felt weird for me too, Spencer. It felt very weird for me. It was like role-playing exercise where, like, when you're like in marriage counseling and they make you pretend to be your wife.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah, something like that.
A man can only talk so much shit when the woman's tired of it. Just like what George is doing now. Just saying.
Okay. Let's see. Bill, Florida, Utah.
That's, I think, of all the games we talked about, this is the one that's the most competitive and close. They're very evenly matched. Utah is in the Pac-12 in location and affiliation only. They're a Big Ten team. They're basically just Iowa West, right? They have a bunch of big dudes on both sides of the line. They're a big team. They don't look like a Pac-12 team. They look like a Big Ten team. They don't play like a Pac-12 team. They play like a Big Ten team. Their offense is, quite frankly, boring, to be real honest, but beautiful in the way it's boring. Do you love duo blocking? Do you love that stuff? Do you love a little power O, counter G? Do you love counter G? Watch some Utah football because they're about to move. They're going to pull centers. They're going to pull guards. They're going to wham block with tight ends and H-backs. If you love, Joe Bugle would love watching them play, right? They pull everybody. So it is not like watching other Pac-12 teams at all. It's not like watching Oregon or USC or Arizona State, Arizona. It's not like any of that. It's like I said, it's like Iowa moved another like 1,000 miles west. So you're going to see them. Now they are going to slow it down, right? They are going to make people hurt. Florida is, crazy as it sounds, the more finesse of the two teams. It sounds insane when I say it, but it's actually true. Not that Florida wants to run the ball too, but not as badly as Utah does. I mean, because Utah, not to say they can't throw the football. Cam Rising is a decent quarterback. They can throw it, but they want to throw it off play action. And they want to do that by first pounding you in the run game. They're not trying to throw the ball 44 times. They're trying to throw the ball 24 times and run it 44 times or close to it. So this is probably going to be a really close, interesting game. What's the line on this game, James? What's the spread on this one?
I don't have the over-unders on the college games. Only
okay.
Pro games.
I was going to say, if it's Florida and the number is anything more than about 4, I'm probably taking Utah because I think this game's going to be close and low scoring. I'm taking the under probably, depending on what the over-under is, and I'm taking Utah if Utah's getting points. Now, if Utah's giving points, then I'm a little nervous because I think it's a really, really close, low-scoring game. Relatively low-scoring game.
Utah should be giving points because, as I'm looking at the schedule here, Florida's not even ranked. So Utah has to be getting points.
So Utah's giving. I wonder how many.
Yeah.
I wonder how many. I might still take them if it's like 2 or 3. If it's more than that, I might have to invest elsewhere.
We're using the AP poll, though, not the coaches poll in this. So.
Oh, okay. I bet Florida's ranked in the coaches poll. I bet.
What do you think, Spencer? Utah, Florida.
Honestly, on this one, it's a pick for me. It really is. Utah is a great team. To me, Utah is the closest thing to the SEC as far as the players, game scheming, grit, blue-collar fighters. There is Utah. Going against a Florida team that's actually being coached by a gentleman who don't believe in the SEC way of doing things. So the roles are kind of reversed right now.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, so to me, it's a pickle. I would not bet on this game nothing in this world. Yes, I'm going to be rooting for Florida because they're SEC. But my gut is telling me Utah's got this one. They're going to beat Florida off the get-go. That's my gut.
Florida State, LSU, Spencer.
Ooh, another good game.
That's Sunday. That's the Sunday matchups, Spencer.
Yeah, we have the old coach of Notre Dame that don't know how to dance. He's really perverted the way he does his recruit dancing. But he does like changing things up. Damn, this is a good one. Florida State, they're on the upward swing, but they got another 2 years before they get there if they stick to this coach. Damn, this is a good one. I'm gonna go with SEC homer on this one. I'm gonna go LSU. I don't believe in it, none whatsoever. I'm gonna go LSU on this one.
Go ahead, Bill.
I think this is yet another coming out party from young Mr. Keishon Butte. I think that Keishon Butte is going to be too much. He's going to only probably, it'll be almost like one of those early Randy Moss things where he probably only gets targeted 5 or 6 times, but 2 or 3 touchdowns and like 180 yards. I think he's just going to be too much. He's going to probably catch maybe 4 balls, but might get 170, 180 yards on the 4 balls with a couple of deep shots. TJ Finley is not a perfect quarterback prospect, but he's got a big arm. I mean, like one of those kids can throw a ball through a car wash and not get it wet. So all you need, he may be a guy who's just around 55, 56, 57% completion percentage, but still will be for 312, right? 19. One of those guys goes 18 of 31 for 312 yards consistently, and then rushes for another 45, 55. Big, strong, athletic kid, not super accurate. But Keishon Butte can make a quarterback right? That's why you love Keishon Butte. He can make a quarterback right. You don't have to be Joe Burrow for Keishon Butte to make you look good. I think they're going to run the ball reasonably well, which is what LSU struggled to do last year, right? I mean, it just didn't look like LSU last year. Like they couldn't run the ball. They just looked bad out of sync on offense. I think they'll be better on offense. They're going to be better on offense this year. Not, amazing, but better. And Keishon Butte helps. And I think also their defense is going to go back to being more like an LSU defense. So I'm going to go LSU as well, not because I'm a homer, but because, I go position by position, player by player, and say who wins, right? And more of the check marks are on LSU's side. I like Florida State, as you said, they're on the upswing. I think they finally have realized firing a coach every other year is not the way to go about doing things. I don't know why teams don't realize that I don't care if it's Vince Lombardi back from the dead, a guy can't turn a program around in 1 or 2 years. You got to give a guy at least 3 years before you even know what you're doing with your team. So I think they finally have figured that out. They're going to let Coach Norvell get his guys in there, fully install his system. It takes 2 years to fully install your offense, really, all of your offense. So Florida State's going to be better. 7 or 8 wins, probably. They'll be competitive in every game. But this is a little too much for them right now. They needed just Louisiana Tech probably would have been better ways to start out. But yeah, you take what you can get.
Our Monday Night Football. Spencer, did you have something to add before I go to the next one?
No, he hit it dead on the head. I feel the same way Bill does, believe it or not. We're in 100% agreement.
Well, we don't have any Monday Night Football for a couple of weeks, so our Monday Night Football is going to be college football. Bill, we see Clemson back up here in talking about the college football playoff picture. They're ranked number 4, but their first game is against Georgia Tech. What do you think?
Yeah, well, now, once again, Coach Collins is building something down in Atlanta at Georgia Tech, but they also lost their best player to Alabama. Like Alabama needs more good players. So it's one of those 2 steps forward, 1 step back thing for Georgia Tech. But overall, as a team, they are better. They are better as a team. But they really could have used Jahmyr Gibbs in this game. Jahmyr Gibbs is special, as I'm sure Spencer will co-sign for me here. That kid, he's got all the stuff you like. If you like good football players, he's got all the stuff you like. Clemson is going to be better for a couple of reasons. I think DJ Uiagalelei is going to be better this year than he was last year. I think he really pressed. I think he got into his own head. He started questioning him. I mean, all that stuff. And I think and worse, like so many of these kids, he never had been bad before, right? I mean, these guys that were the best of the best from the time they first strapped him on when they were 6, 7 years old. And all of a sudden, he's having, a bad season for the first time in his life. And it started to get to him and all the expectations, blah, blah, blah. Plus, the team wasn't as good as it had been in recent years. Clemson's going to be right back where it's going to be back to business as usual. They're better at almost every position this year than they were last year. Their defensive line, particularly, watch this Clemson defensive line. It'll be like, where was this last year? It'll be night and day. It'll be night and day. Their defensive line is going to be one of the best in the country. Their secondary is going to be solid. Linebackers, that's the one sort of, I won't say weakness, but that's the one place where I don't get all excited is their linebackers. But that secondary, very good. That defensive line, once again, that's an SEC defensive line. They can strap it on with anybody. That defensive line is going to be nuts, crazy good. 2 or 3 top 100 type prospects on that D line, and one guy who I think goes in the top 20 picks. Their offense is going to be better than last year. Not spectacular, though. I think they've gotten DJ Uiagalelei to realize you don't have to be Deshaun Watson. You don't have to be Sunshine. You don't have to set records. Just don't make mistakes. Pick up first downs. We'll score points. You're surrounded by a bunch of really talented dudes. You don't have to do anything crazy. No hero ball. And I think it finally sunk in. I saw the spring game. I've seen some practices. It looks like he's once again. That's obviously a no pressure environment, but you could see he just looked more relaxed. Last year, even in spring ball, even in practices, he looked tense last year. He looked like it was getting to him, like the whole I have to be the next one thing, right? It looked like he really was feeling all that. And it looks like this year he's more, I'm just going out there and play football. So, yeah, I think Clemson by about 2 scores.
Spencer?
Well, actually, for me, this is really – I agree with Bill totally, but this is really simple for me. Clemson is going to be better than what people give them credit for because of defense. So what they got coming back, and if you just do a glance at their stats on defense, you got to admit if it ain't the number one, it's going to be in the top 3 defensive lines in college football by the end of the year.
Yep.
They will beat the dog snot out of Georgia Tech. That I will not deny. But I will say this too, so y'all have something else to talk about me about. I do not think DJ will finish the year as the starting quarterback.
You could be right.
That's what it takes.
You could be right.
Really
I think he'll get through this game as a starter, though.
Say it again. I didn't hear you, Bill.
I was saying you might be right, but I think he'll get through this one.
Oh, yeah, he'll definitely get through this one. There's no doubt about it. Dabo's already proven that he has a lot of love for his players. That's why he gets all these recruits over there.
Yep.
Because he shows the brotherly love, where Nick Saban shows the fatherly love, which a lot of kids don't like. But anyway, back to Clemson. My prediction for Clemson is going to be 10-1 this year. They're going to win the ACC because they got the defense to do it. They actually have the running backs to do it. They have the receiving staff to do it. If they keep DJ back there all the time, they're going to go – it ain't going to be good. They're going to go 9-2. It ain't going to be good.
Spencer, because of this, I'm going to try to see if we can't get Jeffrey Fan on, our ACC expert. Let's see if we can't get him on next week.
I'll be here.
All right. So yeah,
I'm a Dabo fan. I am. I'm a Dabo fan. I'm all about it, but facts are facts. I can't fix that.
Let's see. The line on the Alabama game, Spencer, is 41.5 points.
Oh.
They'll cover.
Oh my God. Oh.
I'm gonna repeat what I said Tuesday night on my show. My score prediction for this game is 62 zip Alabama. That's my prediction. Now everybody else on there is going 56-6, 57-10. Most people are giving them 2 field goals or at least 1 touchdown and field goal, but that's it. But on Alabama side, it's 50 and above.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree that they win, and I think they probably even do cover. I don't know about an utter blanking. I think, at some point Alabama was pulling their starters, so I think they do score at some point late in the game. As Alabama
was pulling their starters at the beginning of the game. Have you seen the depth chart? Really?
Yeah. I mean, this is all these other games we've talked about are going to be fun to watch, interesting, compelling games. This is not going to be fun to watch, interesting or compelling, except to learn the names of some of the second and third stringers at Alabama, maybe. If you have a friend or family member who's a backup at Alabama, you get a chance to see your cousin or whatever on television. But I don't have a gold star by this game. This is not going to be what I'll tape it and watch it later.
Yeah, the only reason to watch this game is if you bet on it. You're going to see if they cover. That's the only reason you're going to watch this game. Unless you're an Alabama fan like me.
Yeah.
I'm watching this West Virginia Pitt game, and doesn't look like doesn't look like anybody's going to play any defense. It's 24-24 right now. Bill, is Wheaton going to be playing on Sundays?
Bryce Ford Wheaton?
Yes.
I mean, the answer is probably yes. I want to see obviously what he runs, but he's a big kid who has really good hands. He's not a great route runner, but once again, taller guys struggle just because of the higher center of gravity. But for his size, he's a decent route runner. If he goes out and runs anything from like 4.54 and under, he'll go fairly early. The only question is, does he have that quick speed, like speed you get like that, or does he have to build up to it? The NFL doesn't like guys that have to build up to their speed. They want you to be fast now, right? Not in 12 steps. They want you to be fast in 2 steps. Yeah. So that's my only question, and that's why I will hold judgment at this point. But he'll be on a roster. But what kind of player he'll be is contingent upon him showing the ability to stretch the field as opposed to just being a possession guy, a jump ball guy. Because those possession and jump ball guys are a dime a dozen. And NFL scouts, when they write the report, say, I like him, undrafted free agent, late third day, right? But if that same guy shows that he can run away from people, now we're talking top 3 rounds, top 2 rounds, maybe even. So, if he has a big year and runs fast, he'll definitely have a very good opportunity. If he has an okay year and runs slow, he better be going on special teams.
I think he has tonight. I think he has 9 catches, 2 touchdowns. I'm not sure for his yardage, but now I want to kind of take you back, Spencer. We remember, the old memory, the old rivalries, Alabama, Auburn, Texas, Oklahoma, which is still, kind of significant, USC, UCLA, But when you look at the current uh, line of college play, what do you think are the new rivalries, or do you think that the old rivalries are just as intense as they used to be?
Not
I
even
mean, you know, go ahead.
seriously, they're not even close. Those rivalries are, the teams ain't the same. Everything has flipped. And as far as new rivalries, we won't know until they ever decide how we're going to end up in divisions in college football. Because we don't know who's playing who or nothing. But as it stands right now, the Texas Oklahoma game, great game, awesome game. Alabama, Auburn, great game. Georgia, Florida, great game. Michigan, Ohio State, great games. Um, Notre Dame, I'm going to go Notre Dame and Ohio State. Great games. I mean, there's still some old time rivalries there, but it's about to change. But we don't know the landscape yet. But the landscape, once it changes, we're going to have all new rivalries for my great grandkids and all them to grow up on. What we know, me and you, Mr. King, Bill's a little too young, but what me and you know is gone. I mean, seriously, it's gone. It's changed that much that the rivalry pretty much totally flipped. It's about to flip even more. Now, that's my opinion.
What do you think, Bill? I agree with Spence, of course, but what do you
Yeah, I
think?
mean, I love. I mean, I grew up on. And here's a sort of cross country rivalry I always loved was Notre Dame and USC. And one of my favorite games of all time took place November the 30th, 1974. And Notre Dame goes up 24-zip. USC scores right before halftime, misses the extra point, 24-6. Anthony Davis goes 100 yards with the kickoff, and then it's 24-13. And then from that point, USC scores another 30. Was it 30? Oh, 41 unanswered points and wins 55-24. Here's what I will say. I mean, nobody mentioned Army Navy, and nobody mentioned a truly great, underrated, nasty rivalry. What used to call the Holy War between BYU and Utah.
Yeah.
Literally divides families. I mean, literally divides families. Family members not speaking to each other for days before and days after the game.
You're right.
Super ugly rivalry that people don't talk about enough. The Apple Cup. The problem is that Washington State for a long time wasn't good, so that stopped. That lost some juice. Floyd of Rosedale. Now that Minnesota's good again, that's a fun one. You know, Iowa and Minnesota, because for a long time that lost its juice because Minnesota was so bad for a long time, but Minnesota's good again. So that's.
But yeah, and then didn't you have the little brown jug? I mean, even though the teams they used to suck sometimes, but that rivalry for the little brown jug.
Right, Little Bad Drug, the Tippecanoe, like Indiana and Purdue for the Tippecanoe trophy.
Yeah.
I mean, I love trophy games. I love all the trophy games. How do you not love trophy games? But I was gonna, and one of my favorite is actually an FCS trophy game. It's McNeese versus, is it Northwestern Louisiana? But they have this big old boot. Have you seen it? It's like the state of Louisiana, sort of looks like a boot.
The Raging Cajuns. The Raging Cajuns. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that who plays for it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing. It's of all the trophy games, just for the wildest looking trophy, that's the one I love. But you asked about new ones. I'll give you a newer rivalry that is starting to pick up some steam. UCF versus everybody else in the state of Florida, basically. But so UCF, when they get to play Florida, I mean, the bounce house down in Orlando is nuts when they get to play either Florida State or Florida or Miami, any of those, basically. It's UCF against the world down there in Miami right now. And first of all, they hate the fact that people keep calling them a small school. They're the opposite of a small school. They're the largest school in America by enrollment and undergraduate enrollment. Now, Liberty, technically speaking, because they count their online students or whatever. Yeah, Liberty loves to like say we're the biggest school, but you're counting a bunch of people who like live in other parts of the world.
Well,
Liberty, technically speaking, they are. But if you're counting traditional students who actually go to the school physically, it's still UCF. But my point is that they first of all, they have it out for everybody now, right? They want to play them all. They anytime that Florida doesn't schedule them, they accuse them of ducking, right? So I love how pissed off UCF is all the time. They want to play everybody, want to beat everybody. And those games are wild. Everybody in Orlando is trying to go to the UCF games now. That bounce house, as they call it, Bright House, the bounce house, as they call it, is wacky, wild. It's almost like what they used to call Paternoville back when Paterno was at Penn State, where kids would, of course, it's easier to do it in Orlando than it is in Happy Valley, but for 3 days, intense, right? To get, because the student tickets are first come, first serve. So kids be parked out there, intense. Luckily, Orlando's at least fairly warm.
But can you tell me why, though?
But yeah, so I think people sleep on how big UCF versus everybody in Florida that is now, because UCF 1 is good. All right, they're good. They're a good program, and they're going to continue to be a good program. They're not it's not a flash in the pan. Obviously, Scott Frost helped to build a good program to a very good program, and now Josh Heupel's there. They're no fun to play. UCF is no fun to play. It's a wild environment. They have a lot of good players. So it's, to me, I think that's an underrated rivalry. Them versus whoever in Florida, basically, is now another. They have a good, solid hate worked up, particularly for Florida State, I guess, because I guess it's sort of the proximity. But yeah, they hate Florida too. Miami, it's the hate, so maybe third tier hate. There's some hate there too, but they have a good, solid hate for Florida State. That's real. That's a real hate. They got a really good hate going, and once again, close, physically close, and a lot of divided loyalties. Right, mom and dad went to Florida State. The kids went to UCF. That kind of thing. Big brother went to UCF. Little sister goes. That kind of stuff. So. That's a good one. People don't talk about Duke and UNC in football enough, in my opinion. Everyone talks about it as a basketball rivalry, and obviously it's a huge basketball rivalry. But it's a pretty good-sized football rivalry, and people just don't mention it. Duke
basketball, the basketball shot just
right, and for a long time Duke was terrible. But when Duke stopped being terrible, it became a pretty good football rivalry again. So as long as Duke remains a competitive program, it's a very good rivalry, and people don't talk about it enough. Florida State is still a decent rivalry, and just because of, even though Florida State's been down recently, it's still a decent rivalry. Obviously, Miami versus everybody else is still a decent rivalry, but it's lost some juice since Miami stopped being, the Miami that everyone was terrified of. People sleep a little bit on Oregon State. Now, since Oregon State is stopped being terrible, they're still not where Oregon is, but they're no longer a doormat. So that's going to go back to being a good rivalry.
Well, and that all depends upon where Oregon State is. If Oregon,
right, Oregon State used to be a doormat. They're not anymore. Yeah. They're going to be a good, solid program. I'm talking 7 or 8 wins. Jonathan Smith, like Timmy Chang at Hawaii, but a couple years down the road. Like Timmy Chang just got to Hawaii. It's going to take him a while to right the ship there. But Jonathan Smith is now, I think, in his 3rd season at Oregon State, and it's working. He's going to get it done. And he has this kid, Nashawn Wright. Mark my words. If you like long corners, this kid may be the longest of long corners. He's something like 6'4 1/4, and he's a legit 6'4 1/4. Like, they're not lying. He's the tallest corner I've seen in a long time. Now, really small, quick guys can give him trouble, right? Once again, change of direction. Once you get over a certain height, it's hard to change direction. But If he gets his hands on you in the line of scrimmage, you're done because he's got these super long arms. They've got a good quarterback. They're still some pieces away. Their offensive line needs to get better. Their defensive line still needs to get better. But they've got a good secondary. They always have good wide receivers at Oregon State. They've had good wide receivers at Oregon State forever. That hasn't changed. Their running backs are solid. Their quarterback's decent. Better than decent. Quarterback's good. In fact, he's underrated. In fact, but they really need offensive, defensive line. If they could get that line situation going, they'd be a really dangerous squad. But that's a better rivalry than people give credit for. And I'll throw out one last rivalry that I think people don't talk about.
Yeah, really quick because I want to go to the NFL.
Well, it's the oldest one. It's the oldest continuous one in football, right? Lafayette and Lehigh. It's been played continuously for 109 years. It's the oldest of all the rivalries.
I want to start in the NFL here, hey, we had so much stuff that was breaking today. A lot of stuff broke before I asked the question. So, Spencer, what did you think about the extension that the Broncos gave to Russ? 5 years, $245 million, $165 million guaranteed.
Too much. This guaranteed stuff, that they got to stop it. Because right now, what's happening, their agents are making a damn shitload of money, and they ain't able to back it up. There ain't no damn guarantees in life. They need to get past this damn guarantee shit altogether. If you can't play, you can't get paid. That's my opinion. Go ahead.
Hold on, Bill. I got to make sure that we're in the right mood here, since we are after dark. Let's see.
Oh, I just said F word. Damn.
There it is. There it is. It's official. It's official. Put the kids to bed. It's officially SPORTSKRIB after. So, I explained capitalism very briefly on the show once before. I'll re-explain briefly. There's something called scarcity. And if you can create the sense that something is scarce, you can get people to pay a lot for it. There's only so many quarterbacks in the league that are seen as guys that you win because of. Not just win with, but win because of. Now, whether you agree or not, a bunch of NFL teams agree that Russell Carrington Wilson is a guy you can win because of, right? There's a short list of those guys. Justin Herbert, right? Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray,
Josh Allen,
Patrick Brady, obviously. Patrick Levon Mahomes. Who else is really on that list?
Josh Allen.
Oh, there we go. And that's probably the list of guys you win because of, right? Like they're guys that get you to win games you probably had no business winning, right? That's what you believe. If you believe that a guy is that guy, and you look at what the market is nowadays, right? Because we can't actually turn back the clock, Spencer. I mean, people lost their mind when Sonny Werblin outbid the Cardinals, right? for Joe Willie Namath for $427,000 for 3 years. Plus, he gave his brother I know you don't know how to scout, but here's a scouting job, and bought 2 lime green sedan DeVilles, right? Or I guess jet green sedan DeVilles, one for his mom and one for Namath, right? And people lost their minds. Like, no football player is worth that. What are you doing? You know, it's the end of society as we know it. So things change. Things change. You heard, I don't know if you looked at the most recent TV contract, Spencer, but the NFL is a machine that prints money. The NFL is a machine that prints money. It is literally impossible to lose money. Now, you can botch it pretty badly, but if you are an NFL team, even if you're the worst run NFL team ever, and I'm looking at you, New York Jets, you are still going to make money. All of the teams, no matter how incredibly, terribly they are managed and run, make money because of the television contract. And there's a floor and a ceiling, right? Because of a hard cap. It's a hard cap league. There's no luxury tax league like basketball or baseball. So there's a maximum and minimum that you have to spend. You got to at least spend the minimum, and you can't go over the maximum. In between there, have your fun. Because the sense of that there's only 6 to 8 truly great quarterbacks available at any time. That's the belief. You can disagree with it. You can disagree with it, but that's the belief within the league. There's only 6 to 8 guys that you truly believe are great franchise quarterbacks. And you pay them what the market rate is, right? And guess what? In a few years, Spencer, this deal is going to look like a bargain. I know that doesn't sound right, but in a few years, when you see what guys are getting, this deal will look like a bargain.
No, Bill, I disagree with that. If I don't go to work, I don't get paid. So I do not expect to see and B, think it's a bargain. If people don't go to work, they get paid. I don't think
right. Well, but here's the thing. If you know anything about Russell Wilson, work ethic is not a question. This guy is working like he takes maybe 3 days off the whole darn year. He's watching tape. He's working out. He's got Sierra running routes in the backyard. Well, actually, I'm only half kidding. What's the name of
because I want to see Sierra running a route in the backyard on YouTube.
I'm sure it could be arranged. They're both very active on Instagram, Dave. But like I said, I'm only half kidding. But what's the name of the son that she had with Future? What's that kid's name? But I have seen him doing drills.
No, he does do drills with his son.
Yeah, he throws. That kid's catching routes and doing ladder drills with Russ and all. Russ is a worker. Everybody knows that. I mean, some people sort of make fun of him about how hard. Like he's.
Everybody makes fun of him because he's the so-called good guy.
And also because he tries so hard at everything, right? He takes everything seriously. He tries so hard at everything. And so some people don't like it. I don't care. The point is that he puts everything into his craft. He works hard at every part of his game. So nobody's worried about that. Nobody's outworking him. He's one of the hardest workers in the game. Always has been.
Yeah. Bill, Murray and Russell both got bigger contracts.
Now, Kyler, there's some question marks about.
Huh?
Now, there's some question marks about Kyler. There's no questions about Russell's character.
No, we're not talking about. You have to wait till I get the whole question in here now. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, is this trend? The fact that they're getting, bigger contracts, but they're not giving them all that that guaranteed money like they gave to Sean Watson. Is this actually helping the Ratbirds in their contract negotiations with Lamar? Pointing that out, like, hey, we're not doing that anymore. That's a one-time thing. Unless you get 66 sexual allegations against you, we're not going to guarantee that kind of money anymore.
In a word, no, it is not going to help them. So here's why. For those who have not yet heard, he does not have an agent, but he has a momager, right? And so if he'd signed with Tom Condon or Lee Steinberg or Drew Rosenhaus or, long list of others, they would be reading the marketplace and, talking back and forth through back channels, even when you aren't supposed to be in real negotiations. They have connections. They play golf at the same place, whatever, stuff happens. And they'd be working on this thing, even when they said they aren't negotiating. But he has a momager. His mother is his business manager, and she's the person who's going to be taking lead and helping him figure out what his next move is professionally. His mom is not going to say, "Oh, they're not giving out guaranteed money like that anymore." She's going to say, "He's worth it. This team can't win without him," which you could say that's been proven, right? When he wasn't, I think they were 6-2 when he went down or something like that. And they proceeded to go swirling down the tube once he was hurt. So it's been demonstrated that their team looks radically different without him. And Tyler Huntley's a solid backup, but he's not Lamar. So while he may not get 100% of that contract guaranteed, he's not going to sign for. He's not going to be 100 and something. The first number in whatever he signs for will not be the number 1. I can tell you that. Right? There'll be a 2 and maybe a 4 or a 3 or a 5, but nothing less than 3. It'll be 2 and then a 3 or more. And it'll probably be, maybe it's not 100% guaranteed flat out. Maybe there'll be certain clauses if he wins MVP again, if the team makes it into the Super Bowl. Maybe there'll be certain things that have to kick in. But if he achieves these certain clauses in the contract, then it locks in this money is guaranteed. That's what, once again, I'm not in the room. I don't know this for a fact, but I have a feeling based on what I know about mothers, right, and what they think of their sons, that they're not going to say, "Oh, we're going to look at a deal like what Russell got or a deal like what Tyler got." No, they're going to go back to Deshaun Watson and say, "Our guy is at least as good, if not better, and never been in a lick of trouble." So we'll be expecting a contract about that size, about that shape, and you could send it by courier, FedEx. We don't care how you send it, but we'll be looking for heck fax machine. If you want to kick it old school, we're fine. But as long as we get it, we'll sign it, and then we'll move on, and everything will be great. So they're going to end up being closer, I believe, to the Deshaun deal than to those other deals you just talked about. Maybe not all the way there, but close.
Spencer.
Yes.
John Gruden opens up about his emails that he sent over the course of a couple of years, and John says, "Hey, I'm a good person. I made a mistake. I go to church. I've been married for 31 years. I got 3 great sons." Do you think that John gets another NFL job, Spencer?
Well, honestly, I wish he wouldn't have used the terminology "I go to church." I'd rather him just been straight up and been honest with it, with everybody. He might go to church, but I have different feelings on that subject. But will he get another shot at the NFL? He should. He's a good coach. And if he don't, I hope like hell that Nick Saban gives him a second shot at Alabama. Just saying.
But Spencer.
Yes, sir.
And okay, and I know Keyshawn Johnson. I watch a lot of the the talk shows, right. And Keyshawn said, well, he might have wrote that, I mean, it's undoubted that he wrote it because it's there for everybody to see, But he said that he's never acted that way, but when the league is almost 75-80% minorities, how do the players react to that? I'm a good man. I go to church. I made a mistake. I mean, we talk about second chances, but my neighbor had a Trump sign in his yard. Now he's taken it down since, but every time I walk past his house, I literally see that sign. What do you think? I mean, do you think that minority players will actually trust John Gruden again?
I don't think it's nothing. I really don't think it's nothing to do with the color. I really don't. I mean, because I'm looking. The question you're asking me about Gruden and his
Yeah.
stupidity that he created himself. This is on him. Whatever happened is totally his fault, 100%. But I start looking back. I go, okay, we have video evidence of a football player beating their wife in the elevator. We have conviction on
But
one of my great.
he's never played another down of football, Spence.
I understand, but let me continue. One of my great Atlanta Falcon quarterbacks was dogfighting. He went to jail for it. He got to play again. So it depends on the need of a team at the time. Do they want an experienced coach with baggage or not? Pretty much that breaks it down.
Well, there was a second part to that question, but
Go
that's
ahead.
already been. Well, no, that part's already been solved because I was going to ask you if you thought that Josh Gordon would get another job, but he's already been picked up on the taxi squad, so
Yep.
I can't. I can't answer. I can't ask you that one there. But Bill, I'm going to go to you here. Lawyers for Brian Flores and other coaches blast the idea of Roger Goodell leading the arbitration and a racial bias lawsuit, and they're asking for a jury trial. What's your thoughts? We kind of talked about this before, but what are your thoughts? Should they get a jury trial, or should they go with arbitration, or what?
So you're familiar, I'm sure, with the judicial process in our military, right? You remember the feeling that you always kind of had that if, God forbid, you ever got Article 15 or whatever, you were basically done, right? There's a sense that the fix is kind of in, right? And that's the feeling that people generally have when you go to NFL binding arbitration, that you might not lose, but you won't win, I guess, is sort of how usually you feel going into that. The NFL is not going to take a bath, right? I mean, when's the last time the NFL just got, flat out pants in one of these binding arbitration deals? It almost never happens. So they would obviously prefer, and they'd be right to prefer, going to something where an actual jury is involved. Binding arbitration is cheaper and faster and quieter, which is one reason the NFL likes it. And more often than not, it tends to lean towards away from the complainant and more towards, the defendant. So they would prefer, for a bunch of reasons, because it's easier to get certain things in evidence. You're more likely to be able to peel away, certain people's support for the league in a jury environment. So, yeah, I mean, I would insist on the same thing. Yes, you should definitely try to get a jury trial. It's like being in a court martial.
Yeah. Spencer, will the Panthers be a playoff team with the healthy Baker at the helm?
Ooh, good question. I ain't even got an answer for that one. I'm sorry. That's a damn good question, though. Damn good question.
Who wins next week? The Panthers or the Browns?
Damn. All right.
And just so you know, the Panthers are favored. The Panthers are favored by 3.5 points.
Yes,
just
they
so you know.
are. Yes, they are. So I'm gonna take this off the cuff here. With everything that's gone down, with all the BS and all that, I'm gonna go on the other end of it. I'm gonna go Browns win.
Okay. Bill. John. Strahan says that the 49ers are in a win-win situation keeping Jimmy G. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I guess what you consider a win-win. They wanted to move Jimmy Garoppolo. Like it's not like this is not some part of some fiendish plan to have two starting quarterbacks on your roster. This is not what they intended. They asked for a lot, held on to that very high asking price, and then at some point, all of the seats, were filled when the music stopped, and so they couldn't get what they wanted. They decided not to let him go for less. So now they're going to wait. They're playing the waiting game.
Yep.
And it does give them insurance in case Lance gets hurt or it's just simply bad. But the plan was to move Jimmy. And because they respected him and liked him, they asked him, like, where would you want to go? They consulted with him and everything. They really like him. They wanted him to be in a good situation. They were willing to try to get him to a contender. But as I said before, Matt Ryan ended up taking the Colts job out of contention, which is one of the places that, from what I'm hearing, was on his list of places where he said he would have wanted to go. Who else was on his list?
Who Jimmy G?
Was on the list now, but there was like a few teams on the list they thought were contenders. That he could go and be good. And so when the last few of those places got filled up, Wentz lands in Washington and all those, there's just no place for him, right? There's no place for him to go and be a starter. And that was, what he was looking for. He's looking to be a starter. And if I can't be a starter someplace else, sure, I'll be a backup here. But the handshake agreement between he and the team is if a starter goes down somewhere else in the league or whatever it is, that they will do everything possible to move him at that point. And plus, they want to move him. It's not like they don't want to move him. They would like to move him. And one, get them something back, right? Get something back to him. But two, not have Trey Lance looking back over his shoulder constantly, wondering if they're going to put Jimmy Garoppolo back in there. So, yeah, I think they still intend to move him, but if they don't get the price they want, they'll hold on to him.
Spencer, are you confident or concerned with the Bucks and all the troubles that they're having with their offensive line?
I'm gonna say concerned. I don't think if they can't block, then there's no way in hell they can throw the ball laying on their back. So I'm gonna say concerned.
What do you think about that Bucks O-line, Bill?
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody knows, right? I mean, we've never seen them. I mean, not this version of them. That's a bunch of guys who don't play normally. So I'm concerned, particularly about the interior of that offensive line. And I know Thomas Edward Patrick Brady, drinks celery water and moss and all these other things that he's doing. I get it, or whatever. Hasn't had a tomato in years and all sort of stuff. I get it. He's got this, the TB12 method and all this special dieting and all the special exercises. I got all that. But if you can't handle interior pressure at 25, you won't be better at handling it at 45. He is. I mean, that's how you make him human. That's how you make him normal. And that's been the book on him for 20 plus years. So if that interior of the offensive line is soft, if that's not one of the strengths of the team, well, I mean, teams are going to know that, right? I mean, if I know it, they know it. And so you're going to see a lot of twists and stunts and interior overloads and everything possible to make Brady uncomfortable, because you can make him go from being maybe the greatest of all time just by getting him to reset his feet. Even if you don't hit him, if you make him reset his feet, he goes from that to being just good. If you hit him, he's not even good anymore, right? No quarterback likes being hit, but he really doesn't like getting hit.
No,
he really doesn't like it, Dave.
He didn't like getting hit when he was 28.
That's what I'm pointing out. So he definitely isn't going to embrace contact at this point, which is wise because everything hurts when you're 45 and playing football at that level. So I get it. But
at 45, I don't know. If you had been through our profession, Bill, everything hurts anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So,
yep.
I want to ask you this question, Bill, because I know you scout guys, and you know them from Pop Warner on, and I was looking yesterday at the waiver wire, and teams claimed 7 players that were waived by the Jets.
Yep.
Did I miss something, or am I underestimating the Jets' talent pool? I mean,
well, it's probably a combination of things. You probably are underestimating the Jets' talent pool. They've drafted. I mean, they've had their misses like anybody, but they've drafted mostly fairly well. They also have turned over the roster in the past 3 or so years, right? That Jets roster about 3 or 4 years ago was, obviously a bottom 5 roster. They no longer have a bottom 5 roster. They're right about the mid mark. They're maybe 18, 17, like somewhere in there in terms of just talent at each position, line by line. But they have a young quarterback who has never consistently played at a high level. So Zach Wilson consistently plays at a high level with the rest of the team they have around them. I mean, I think 7 wins is the bottom, is the ceiling for them. And they could be as high as 9 or 10. But most likely they're between the two, 8, 8.5.
Well, I mean, you're playing the Buffalo Bills twice. You're playing Miami twice.
Yep.
Even if you would happen to get a split, with your other team, who's the other team that's in that conference? New England.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you get I mean that's 5 losses right there. But we'll see. Spencer.
Yes, sir.
God made me the perfect linebacker. I mean, defensive tackle. This was said from the tales of a young Aaron Donald. Do you agree with Aaron Donald that he's the perfect defensive tackle? I mean, when you look, I thought he was a little undersized, and it was I mean, he's one of those guys where it's more about determination and technique. But what do you think?
Well, speaking from a old offensive lineman, it's definitely about technique. It's definitely about hand placement, leverage. You can go against guys a whole lot bigger than you, but keep them off of your running backs and quarterbacks. But to say the word perfect, there's no such thing as a perfect player. They just ain't one. So I have to disagree with the statement.
What do you think, Bill?
Well, and this is where they'll say about horses for courses. If you're keeping it to 3 technique defensive tackles, that means that your Mount Rushmore, well, my route. I won't say what yours is, but my route. Alex Karras, right? Merlin Olsen, John Randall, Warren Sapp. Now, with the arrival of young Aaron Charles Donald, somebody's getting pushed off the island, and that's a tough one because I love all the guys. That 4, it worked out perfectly. The 4 guys that I think are obviously the best at that position, all are guys that it's easy to see them, making. Like I said, I had an easy 4 until now, and so I guess I may have to reevaluate. One of those guys, probably most likely reevaluating maybe Alex Karras, as great as he was, for Aaron Charles Donald. But I mean, he's not perfect for everybody. But if your main thing is I want you to harass the passer, right? If you want somebody who's going to disrupt the passer, he's the best at that position. since that position has existed in the 1950s. So I can agree with that.
Which one do you feel that can get through a fundamentally sound offensive lineman the best?
Great question.
That's where I went.
Obviously, Aaron Donald is going to be first out of my mouth because he's Aaron Donald. But I'm going to assume you mean just beyond the obvious.
Is it a hand movement? What do you think he does?
Sure. I mean, Aaron Donald has a lot in that trick bag, but also he's a freakish athlete. He can run step for step with most of the tight ends in the league. He's faster than some safeties. I mean, he's ludicrously athletic, powerful. When he was lighter than he is now, he did 38 reps on the bench. You know, he has something like a 36 or something inch vertical at 288 pounds. Ran a 4.68 40. I mean, he's just a stupidly athletic, just off the charts athlete.
But Bill, I understand when you talk about the athleticism, but when you getting to the question that Spencer asked, is he better than a Merlin Olsen?
Oh, that's tough.
Thank you.
That's a tough one. I mean,
you're talking about guys that I've watched. I mean, you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. When you get into guys like Bob Lilly or Merlin Olsen, I mean, you get into some of those guys who are the best of the best, and then you bring up someone else. It's hard to even think about.
Let me break in here just on this one. Olsen's first step off of the line, he brought his left arm up and he swept through the arms of the offensive lineman to keep them hands off of him as he went wherever he wanted to go. When you control the hands, you control the person on the offensive line. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, if you control the hand, yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't disagree with that. Like that control, when you have the ability to move things and change their direction. Yeah, I mean, there's no argument to be made. That means you're king or queen or whatever. You're running it. I mean, I love guys like Geno Atkins. I love guys like Bob Lilly. I'll bring up Roger Brown, the first great 300-plus pounder in the NFL history.
I'll give you that one.
I mean, he was amazing. And unfortunately, he died waiting to get into the Hall of Fame. But the thing about Aaron Donald, yes, right. The thing about Aaron Donald, right, is we've never seen someone move like that who plays that position. Geno Atkins was probably closest, or maybe John Randall was pretty close too. But when you think about his combination of size, movement skills, right? Because have you ever watched him do linebacker drills? I mean, he looks better than most linebackers doing linebacker drills. He is ludicrously athletic. It's just, I mean, I've seen him do ladder drills and all these drills, like things that you wouldn't expect to see a defensive tackle be able to even do, let alone look amazing doing them. So that's why I think Aaron Donald should be mentioned with literally anybody at the position. And when it's all said and done, he'll be in the top three, I think, for almost everybody. And yeah, I mean, it hurt. Like I said, Alex Karras is the one I would probably shove off the island if I had to make room for Aaron Donald. And those guys had a similar, I mean, obviously Karras isn't the same athlete, but similar in that his game was quickness and leverage. He was a terrific wrestler, right, in high school, and could have wrestled at Iowa. But, you know, Karras was that, like I said, he's that first great interior pass rusher from the three technique position. He had fantastic array of moves. He was extremely quick. I mean, not the powerhouse that Aaron Donald is, and obviously not the athlete, but a terrific, terrific player on the interior. And he had Roger Brown, as we talked about, for that guy to clog things up in the middle for him. And Roger Brown, despite the fact that he was a zero tech, had 79.5 sacks at a time when he only threw the ball on third down and long. So that's a guy that really, really should be in the Hall. But yeah, I mean, to me, that's the Mount Rushmore. The guys I mentioned, and then if you have to throw Donald in there, as much as it hurts to get rid of, Bob Lillard, the guy to get rid of him, I guess, is Alex Harris. But I mean, he is.
Cut to the chase. Do you think Aaron Donaldson is the perfect tackle?
I mean, the perfect. That's a toughie. But once again, it depends on what you want from the position. But assuming you want a guy that has both size, athletic ability, he's great against both the run and the pass. I mean, Warren Sapp in his peak was all of those things. Very good against the run, terrific against the pass.
Yeah.
Movement ability.
But he wasn't perfect.
Oh, he would gas out. I mean, he was
great, but he wasn't perfect.
That was the one knock on him. And unlike Aaron Donald, who is it? I mean, Aaron Donald, I don't know if you've seen Aaron Donald, but I mean, he looks like literally a superhero. Like he should have a cape.
I agree.
Yeah.
His first step burst is unbelievable.
And his conditioning, right?
Yes, sir.
That's the thing that separates him like Sapp. Is Sapp would give you 5 or 6 great plays, and then he would need some, right? I mean, he wasn't a guy that could just play after play after play. And that's the thing about Donald is his conditioning. He can play so many more snaps than some of the other guys we've mentioned because he's just in such unbelievable condition.
Now I will give him he will break most double teams also. I will give him that too.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, let's kind of move on here. I got a couple more questions, and then we're going to get our predictions on for next week. For this week, actually. Okay. ESPN reporter Bill Barnwell says that these teams will improve their record this season. Okay, the Bills, the Broncos, the Jaguars, the Lions, and the Ravens. Do you believe those? Do you believe that, Spence?
Everybody but the Lions, yes. I don't believe in the Lions.
Okay. Any reason why not? I think they only won 4 games last year, right?
Yeah, that was it.
So you don't think that they'll win 5? So you don't think they'll win 5? Well, it's one more than 4, right?
Jesus, come on, really? No.
Well, okay.
When shit stinks, it stinks. I'm sorry.
Okay, how many more games?
Big pile or a little pile, but it still stinks.
Okay, so how many more games do you think that the Bills are going to win than they did last year? More than 2?
Yeah, 3. I'll give them 3 more.
Oh, okay. Bill, what do you think? Everybody except the Lions, or
no? Everybody except Buffalo. A lot of things went right for the Bills last year, and I don't think all those things are going to go right for them. They were one of the healthiest teams in the NFL last year. I mean, a lot of things went right for them. It's just so hard to be that fortunate when it comes to injuries. They had really only 2 somewhat noteworthy injuries pretty much the whole season. It's just so hard to have to happen again. The schedule is tougher this year. I just think they're going to be able to get quite to where they were. They'll still be good, but I think they win 1 or 2 games fewer than they did last year, and I think the Lions win probably at least 2 games more than they did last year. They've raised the total talent level of that team. I really like what Brad Holmes, their GM, is doing. He's one of the best young GMs in the league, and that team's going to continue to get better. I think they're probably just 2 years away from challenging as finally, I'm assuming eventually, Aaron Charles Washington decides to stop playing football. So if at some point he does retire, the Lions will be, and if I'm sort of working in my head, so the Lions are about to have a lot of cap space. They're a team that's getting better. The Packers have maybe 2 more good years with their current Hall of Fame quarterback. 3, I guess, the most, but somewhere in that range. So, yes, I think the sun is going to break through the clouds soon for the Lions. I think they're at least a game or two better this year, and I think they break through and become a playoff team the year after that. Wild card probably.
So let's see. You say the Bills will have less wins this year, and Spencer, you say the Lions. So we'll have to remember that. We'll have to remember that at the end of the year. Now, the same reporter also says that these teams, the Steelers, the Raiders, the Packers, the Titans, and the Falcons, are all most likely to win fewer games this upcoming season. Do you agree with that, Spencer? And do you think that perhaps he should have included the Bucks on this list?
The Bucks, I've got to wait on that offensive line. I'm sorry. If a quarterback don't have time to throw the ball, it ain't going to happen. So I got my opinion on the Bucks is still out there. Packs, I think they're going to be playing for the championship next year. I'm a firm believer in Mac 10, big time. Atlanta Falcons, garbage. Sorry, garbage. It's my team. I love them, but garbage. Damn. That's a damn good question, sir. You did good on this one. You did. You did good. That's
what about the Raiders? What about the Raiders?
Raiders are going to improve. Raiders will improve. There's no doubt in my mind. They got Najee Harris, and they're going to improve.
And what about my Steelers?
I think they're going to be about the same. I don't see no improvement, but I don't see them going down either. I haven't seen them put enough people on their team through either the draft or through free agency to change anything they've done up to this point. I just don't see them improving any at all. I think they'll stay right where they're at.
Bill, what do you think about that list?
Give me the list one more time.
Okay, the Steelers.
Yep.
The Raiders, the Packers, the Titans, and the Falcons.
And I'm taking one off.
And the other one I said, should the Bucks be included?
Yeah, well, I think the Bucks come back to earth a little bit. So I'm kicking one out or whatever for the playoff picture. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so let me see. I think the Eagles are going to win the AFC East. And I think they're the only team that makes it from that. Well, obviously, I mean, I say obviously, but from that division. Let's see, Saints. Well, the Falcons are the ones I would kick off the list at this moment. But I think the Saints and Bucks both make the playoffs. I think out west, I guess we'll see with what happens. But I think the Rams are continue to be a good franchise. I don't think they're suddenly going to fall apart.
They're not in there. No, you got okay. The Steelers.
Well, the Falcons were the team I said I'd have to get rid of.
Okay, so you think that they're going to win fewer games than they did last year, but you think that the Raiders, the Packers, the Titans, and the Bucks will all either stay the same or improve?
I think that some of those will improve and some will stay the same. And I think because the Bills will probably be a slightly worse team than they were before.
Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to try to get your predictions here now about the upcoming games this week. For you guys for those of you who didn't know, we do a Friday show called "And the Winners Are" with Mike, and he does the fantasy football and whatnot. And Bill, we want to try to get you and of course, I would love to have Demetrius back when he can. You know, the Michigan State rivalry.
Yeah, he would love to be back.
Yeah. I know. You know, as a matter of fact, I'm sending another card to the family this week. For those of you that don't know, Demetrius is having some family difficulties, and our thoughts and prayers are with him daily. With that, let's get to our predictions for this week because the games actually start next Thursday? Am I correct?
Yes.
You talking about college or
No, college started last week.
Our first pro game is Thursday, right? Thursday night. Okay. So I'm going to start here. Week 1, the Bills and the Rams. The Rams are favored the Bills are favored by 2.5. And the over and under is 52.5. What do you think there, Spence?
Oh, damn. Poor Bills. I think the Bills are going to improve this year, but playing the Rams off the get-go, I would take the under and the Rams to win.
The Saints, 5.5 over the Falcons. The over-under is 42. The over-under is 42.5.
42.
42.5.
I would take a push, but I will still go with the Saints on it. I would take a push on it.
Okay. All right. Bill.
So
Rams by Bills by 2.5, and the over/under is 52.5.
Rams, and I'll take the over on the first game.
Okay. Saints 5.5 over the Falcons, 42.5.
I'll take the over again, but I'll take the Saints and the Saints cover. I think the Saints win by at least a touchdown.
The 49ers -7 over the Bears, and the over/under is 41.5.
I will once again take that one's close though. I'll take the over again, but it's a little scary. And then that one makes you a little nervous. And then I will. They're favored. 49ers are favored by how many points again?
The 49ers are favored by 7.
Huh. I will. I don't often do this, but I will actually take the Bears here. I think the Bears are going to be a slightly better team than people are expecting. And I think that later in the year, they'll get worn down and exposed. So I think they're going to come out and still lose, but lose a very tight, close game to the 49ers. So I think the 49ers will not cover.
The Bengals favored by 6.5 over the Steelers, Bill, and the over/under is 44.5.
Huh. Well, that number's about exactly right. I hate when they do that. Oh man. I mean, I do think the Bengals win this game, but I think once again it's going to be closer than people think. But the line was, you said, was it 4.5 again, or what was it?
6.5.
6.5. Oh. Yeah. You know what? Then I think I will take it. Oh, this makes me so nervous. That's just about right. But I will take the Steelers and not like it. And I mean that. I'm not going to push as much as I want to. I will take the over, but feel terrible about it.
Spence, the 49ers by 7 over the Bills. 41.5 is the over/under.
I will have to go with under 7.5.
No, 7.
You
Just
say
7.
7 or 7.5?
Yeah, just 7.
Just 7? I'll go
Just 7.
49ers. I go 49ers.
Okay.
But I go under, though.
Okay. And the Bungles and the Steelers. Bungles are favored by 6.5, and the over under is 44.5.
That's going to be a clusterfuck of a game. I'm going to go under and Steelers.
The Eagles are favored by 4 over the Lions, Spencer, and the over under is 48.5.
Ooh, the over and under is damn close to what I was thinking. I was thinking 49 or 47. That's interesting there. I'm picking the Eagles to win. I'll take the Eagles points and everything. Shit. Damn. I'll go over on that one. I'll go over.
And the Dolphins favored by 3 over the Patriots, and the over under is 47.
I will definitely go over, and I'm going to take the Patriots.
Oh, okay. All right,
I
Bill.
love my Tua, but I love my back 10 too.
Okay. Bill, Eagles by favored by 4 over the Lions, over under 48.5.
I'm going to go under and go with the Eagles. I think the Eagles, though once again, it's going to be a tough game. I think the Eagles pull it out, but I think the Lions give them everything they want.
Yep.
The Dolphins and the Pats. Dolphins favored by 3. The over under is 47.
I'm going to go under. I think that ends up being a very defensive game, and I think that the Patriots. Now I'm going to do a Spencer. The Patriots not only not only are they not covered by the points that they're getting, I think they do win it outright.
Okay. The Ratbirds by 7 over the Jets, Bill, and the over under is 45.5.
Oh,
that's a tough one.
These people are good.
That's tough.
I guess that's why they make the big bucks. Yeah, I will go with the Ravens, and oh God, I'm going to tear myself up inside. I'm not going to push. I'll go under, but really not like it. I wouldn't bet my money or your money on this, but I will take the under and regret it desperately.
Bill, the Commanders -3 over the Jaguars. Over under is 44.
The Commanders are giving 3?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Well, that tells you what they think of the Jaguars. Man, do I not like this game at all. Thankfully, I don't actually have to bet this game.
I'm right there with you, brother.
Not one tiny bit. I'm going to say the Jaguars because I don't think Washington is 3 points better than them. It may not be 3 points better than almost anybody. But they're going to win some games. They have a really good defense. And you said the over-under was 40 what?
44.
Man, why are they so accurate? Once again, I'm going to desperately wish I didn't have to pick, but I will. And I will go under.
I didn't quite understand that one, Bill. It's like
I didn't want you to. That was my intention. Go on to the next thing.
Let's see. Where were we? The Ratbirds and the Jets. -7. The Ratbirds -7 over the Jets, and over under 45.5. Spencer.
I will go over on that game. And take the Jets.
Ooh,
For the
okay.
points.
The Commanders -3 over the Jaguars, and the over under is 44.
Commanders over.
Okay. The Colts -8 over the Texans, Spencer, and the over under is 45.5.
That ain't nice. Oh shit. Okay. -8. All right. Do I think they're gonna win by 10? Yes, I do. I'm gonna go the Colts and under.
The Colts and the under. Okay.
Yes.
Here's an interesting one for you, Spence. The Panthers. No, wait a minute. Hold it now. Before I get to that, I have to go to this other one here. Let's see. Oh, no, wait. Let's see. We did the Commanders. We did the Colts over the Texans. Yeah, okay. The Panthers given 2.5 to the Clowns. And the over-under is 41.5.
Panthers over.
Okay. Bill, Colts -8 over the Texans, 45.5.
8's a lot of points in the NFL. I'm going to go Texans here. And what was the over-under?
45.5.
I'm going to go over. I'm going to go Texans and over.
Panthers and the Clowns. Panthers 2.5, and the over/under is 41.5.
Give me the Panthers and over.
Okie doke. The Titans giving 5.5 to the Giants, and the over/under is 43.5. Bill.
Titans and over.
Packers giving up 2 to the Vikings, and the over/under is 48.
Packers and over.
Packers and over. Okay. Spencer, Titans and Giants.
I will go Titans. And what's the point? What's the points again?
The Titans are giving up 2.5, and the over/under is 43.5.
Ooh, 43.5. I'm gonna go over.
Packers -2 over the Vikings, and the over/under is 48.
Vikings and under.
Okay. The Chiefs giving up 4.5 to the Cardinals, and the over/under is 53.5.
Chiefs and under.
Okay. The Chargers giving up 3 to the Raiders, and the over/under is 52.
I would take Raiders and under.
All right. Bill, Packers, Vikings, Chiefs, Cardinals, 53.5. Chiefs, 4.5 point favorites.
Chiefs and over.
Cardinals, -3 over the Raiders, and over/under is 52.
Raiders, and you said the over-under is 52?
Yeah.
I'll go under.
Okay. The Bucks by 1.5 over the Cowboys, and the over/under is 50.
As much as I hate to say it, I'll go Cowboys. and 50. Man, that's right on the number, I think. I'll go over and not be able to sleep tonight because of it.
Okay, the Broncos 6.5 over the Seahawks, and the over/under is 42.
Whose idea was it to put this game on? But okay,
that's a main one.
Damn is right.
Damn. This is total guess for me and him both.
Well, I'm still waiting. Bill?
Okay. The number was 40. Give me the number one more time.
42.
42.
Broncos 6.5.
6.5.
Which is a touchdown.
If it were just 6. Okay. Oh God. Okay, so I'll go Broncos, and I will go over, and already it's starting to eat the lining out of my stomach.
Okay, Spence. The Bucks.
Yes, sir.
1.5 over the Cowboys, and the over/under is 50.
I'm gonna go Cowboys and over.
The Broncos and the Seahawks 6.5 and 42.
I have not been impressed with Seahawks the last couple of years, so I'm gonna have to go with the Bronx and under.
Okay, now this time next week, Spence, we will be having Thursday night football. Okay?
Yes, sir. I'm watching football right now.
So the Chiefs.
I picked Tennessee by 40 points. Anybody take that bet? I'm joking.
Tennessee by 40.
I'm just saying.
Bill, next Thursday, the Chiefs -3 over the Chargers, and the over/under is 53.5.
Okay. If it were 3.5, I would really feel so much better. Okay. I am gonna go.
It's Spence. Hold on, Bill. It's Spence.
Oh, it's Spence. Oh, thank God.
Oh, it's me. I'm going Chiefs and under.
You're going to Chiefs and under. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And the Clowns and the Jets. The Clowns favored by 5.5, and the over/under is 42.
This one sucks. But I'm gonna go with the Clowns and over. Even though I have serious problems thinking Jets can score much, but I gotta go there.
Okay, Bill. The Chiefs and the Chargers. Chiefs favored by 3. 53.5 is the over/under.
Hoping you'd forget. Okay, so I will go Chiefs. And as much as I would really like to push, this game's gonna be so close. As much as I'm gonna say the Chiefs.
You are allowed one push tonight, so you do.
Oh, am I? Okay, well.
Yes, I've used mine already.
I may revisit this, but I will go. I will go the Chiefs, and I think the Chiefs win it by 4. So I guess I can do okay. And the over/under was 53.5.
Yeah.
Oh, that's also right on Oh, so they're really good at this. I will go.
The Clowns and the Jets.
I think the Jets. I think the Jets actually win it outright. And what was the over under?
42.
I will go ever so slightly under. I think this will be a defensive game.
Okay. All right. I guess I can live with that. I would love to see the Clowns starting out 0-2. So that kind of fits my bill for the rivalry of the NFC AFC North. So I would love to see them start out 0-2. That would work for me. Bill, since we don't get to see Spencer that much, we're gonna give Spencer the last word tonight. So why don't you give us your final thoughts?
Really? You're doing this for me? All right, let me say it straight up. Roll Tide. That was my final word.
Okay, all right. And you did say that they were going to win by 40.5, right? 41.5.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay.
No doubt about it.
Okay, so
that's with our third-string quarterback.
Oh, with your third-string quarterback. Okay, so I was going to ask you.
If we start him, we're going to win by more than that. Yes.
Okay, so give me how many yards does your starting quarterback get, and how many touchdowns before they take him out?
All right, I'm going to go. Now, this is just off the hair on my ass. I'm going to go. He throws for 375 yards, 4 touchdowns before they pull him out.
Yeah. You got a mohawk back there, huh?
Yep.
Okay. Bill, final thoughts.
My final thoughts are thoughts that I'm glad, first of all, that I get to watch this final act in the career of Serena Jamaica Williams. So to put it in perspective, the first time that Serena Jamaica Williams won the U.S. Open, Greg Popovich was number 106 on the list in terms of career coaching victories in the NBA. Tim Duncan was the Rookie of the Year. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady had not yet thrown his first career touchdown at Michigan. The first time she won the U.S. Open.
Damn,
she has had a run of dominance in her sport unlike any that has ever been seen and unlike one that will probably ever be seen. To manage to be this level of great in your teens, 20s, 30s, and now 40 years old. I am excited and proud that I've lived in this time to see this. It's the kind of thing
she's actually done more than Tiger Woods.
Well, I mean, it's been different because
she's had a longer run.
Sports, but
yeah.
Okay. So the difference is that Tiger, though he had like that fantastic comeback a few years back, went from being a guy that just ran the sport and then almost his career ending. She's managed to consistently be at or near the top the whole darn time.
Yes,
I mean, that's so crazy. It's just nuts what she's done. And like I said, I don't think we'll ever see it again. Her winning, this is the thing that I just can't get past. She has 858 and 154 in singles. for an 84.8%. Tiger's really good. He wasn't winning 84.8% of the tournaments he entered. Nobody does this. Nobody does this. This is the thing that people do. She has 73 career titles. She has, in Grand Slam singles, won the Australian Open 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. The French, which is her weakest, right, 3 times. Wimbledon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. The U.S. Open 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. She has had an Olympic gold. In doubles, she's 192 and 34. There's nothing I can say that is not mind-bendingly, ridiculously impressive. In mixed doubles, she's 27 and 4. I mean, she's won in doubles in the French Open, the Australian Open, the Wimbledon and U.S. Open, Fed Cup, Hopman Cup. I mean, like, I could do this for a while, but I won't.
Did she not also birth a child?
Yes, sir. Was last year, 2 years ago?
Yeah,
no.
last year she birthed a child too. So
no, not last year. Her daughter's what, 6 years old? How old is her daughter?
I don't think 6, but
3. I think she's 3 or 4 because they just showed her not too long ago.
Yeah, I've seen the child recently, so I don't think she's 6.
I think she might be 4, 3 or 4. I think.
Yeah, she's something like that. She's young. She may be like preschool age or not quite. I think she's not quite kindergarten age, but she has had this simply unbelievable. I guess it's really word. She's had this unbelievable career, and amongst other things, she's obviously had to deal with and overcome people being, at first sort of thrown off, I guess, by her. But yeah, she gave birth to Alexis Olympia Ohanian Jr. in September of 2017. So her daughter will soon turn 5. So she's 4 going on 5. But she's done things her way when other people have thought that she should not. She studied fashion, right? While she was the best tennis player in the world, she's been involved in activism. She's, like I said, she designs her own, her own clothes. She has won awards for activism. She's talked a lot about gender equality and racial equality in her sport. And, she has worked really, really hard to do her best to pave the way, right, for people who will follow behind her, the same way that Althea Gibson and Arthur Ashe paved the way for the people that, preceded Serena, right? And then Serena has made it a wider and deeper channel than any other woman, period, in the sport. And obviously any other black woman. And so now when people like Sloane Stephens, when people like Naomi Osaka and others have come into the sport, while it is still challenging to be in this sport that is still well over 90% white, and where still people have expectations of you to be somebody that you may not be, it is easier. The wind doesn't blow on them as hard. The rain doesn't come down on them as much because of the bulwark of what Serena and Venus were. And it's easy to forget that Serena was the little sister, that Venus was the phenom initially, right? And everyone was talking about Venus who's 6'1.5" and, hitting the ball as hard and harder than some of the men. And that at first Serena, the younger sister, was the one that people were, intrigued by, but she wasn't originally the dominant force. She had to, for a little while, be sort of in her sister's shadow, which of course changed fairly quickly. When it became clear that, oh wait, never mind. Now Venus is truly great, and we forget how great Venus is because of Serena. But Serena is off the charts. So I want to thank her One, for not saying several years ago, I've made all the money I could spend in 100 lifetimes and leaving the sport behind. She now is doing it truly because she loves it and because she does want her child to get a chance to see her play. Like, that's literally her two motivations. She still loves tennis and she wants her child to see her play. She's done everything many times that you can do in the sport. And if she does manage to go out a winner in this U.S. Open and then retires because she's retired, this is her last season. If she decides to never play competitive tennis again,
this is supposed to be her last game. The U.S. Open is supposed to be her last event.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If indeed, right, and if indeed she manages to go out a winner, it doesn't matter to me if she goes out a winner. But if indeed she does, I mean, it'll be that improbable Hollywood ending, which I would love so much, to this incredible story where two girls from Compton, two little girls from Compton, not just two black girls, two little girls from Compton, managed to become, at one point or another, the number one tennis player in the world for a while. And then in the case of Serena, for a long while. It really does sound like a Hollywood movie, and I love it.
All right, guys. Well, hey, as always, enjoy being with you on Thursday. Spence, hope you can come back and hang out with us. And like I said, the only thing that you have to do is show up. You always you always have an invitation whenever you want to be here. So
just hook me up with the 3-hour questions on Wednesday. It makes it a lot easier.
All right. Well, a lot of times things break out on Thursday morning, but I'll try to make sure I have enough meat for you to work with. How's that?
I appreciate you, brother. Thanks, sir.
All right, guys. Have a great night. I'll see you all next Thursday.
You too, sir. Thank you.
All right. As for our audience, thank everyone, and look forward to talking to you next Thursday. Bill, if you ever want to hook us up or be with us on Friday, just let me know.
That's a maybe. I've got. It depends on what time. I've got other shows.
Well, it's 5 o'clock our time, so it'd be 8 o'clock your time.
Okay, so that's once again a maybe. So I might be done. I might be done with the. Because I do a college football show, so I might be available. I'll let you know for sure.
All right.
Tomorrow, I guess I can let you do. It depends on when the show ends.
It's from 5 to 6:30. We try that one. We try to end on time because it's just me and Mike.
Oh, okay, got it.
And all right, well, have a good night, my man. I'll talk to you next.